Good morning. Hey Christina, how you doing? Morning, Tammy. So I'm not quite sure what card I'm going to do yet. I was thinking of making this one. This is a card that I'm making with my Stamp Club ladies next week. But I'm open to suggestions because I haven't really made anything yet. I'm not sure what we're making, Tammy. I'm kind of in a flux state. I don't know if I want to stick with one more Halloween card, or if I want to make a fall card, or we can also make a Christmas card. Hi Karen, good morning. But I wanted to share with you guys, I got a few supplies in that I've been waiting for, so I just wanted to go over a couple things, just in case you didn't know. We'll do a few things, and I'll give you a couple tips about paper pumpkin, and then we'll figure out what we're going to make. But this is a card that I made. Actually, this is a card I made quite some time ago for my grandfather. So this is another version of the card if you have this. Hi Brianna. Hi Faith, good morning. This is using the Guy Greeting stamp set. And this is a really fun card. You don't need this to hold it closed, but I kind of just find it's fun to have it in the envelope. Good morning, Becky from West Virginia. Good morning. I bet it's nice and crispy there this morning. And this will hold the card open like that, but you don't need this part, but I think it just makes it a little bit more fun. So this is a very easy card to make. And again, you can use any stamp set. This is back when they used to sell the designer series paper stacks, I guess they called them, but it was like all of the colors in one color group. So this was a really great way to use your designer series paper. So if you have a lot of designer series paper, you could certainly you could use this to do it. Morning, Karen. Iowa. Oh, is it crispy in Iowa? I bet it is. It's got to be getting that way. So this is a fun card. This was done in Pacific Point. And then what I did was, the ladies, I usually will take like a stack of cards, like new things or old things, and they said they wanted to make this, but I figured instead of making this card, we would make it into a fall card. So that's the kind of card they asked for. So what I did was I used the vintage leaves stamp set, and I stamped the leaves. And I completely didn't realize that this came with a matching set of framelits. So like 3 days later, then I ordered the framelits. So these just came in as well. So I thought we could either swap it up and do something like that. And then I used some copper embossing. And this is using the new Sparkle, I think it's called Sparkle Punch. I think that's what it's called, Sparkle? I can't remember. And then I used some designer series paper. So this is the, I believe it's Painted Autumn designer series paper. And then I just made my own little paper here. And I figured you could still write something in this on with black if you wanted to. Or you could kind of omit these 4 here and stamp a sentiment inside, or leave those 4, and that way you could write something inside. But I just went over this a few different times. This was really easy to create. And I thought this is really fun because it goes really well with the colors. And then I did the really nice fall colors on the front, but I thought it needed something, so I did the embossed, the copper embossing. And that is actually from the Paisleys and Posies. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. This is a really fun one, and I was used for this here, my friend. That is from You're So Sweet. I'm fairly certain that this is still in the catalog. Sometimes I can't remember. Good morning, Veronica. How you doing today? So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a few things, and then we'll move on from there and we'll decide what we're going to do. So in case you don't know, this is how Stampin' Up sells its sponges. I also just got another order in the other day. You tell I don't do my ordering very well. Hi Verna, hi Robin. So they come in a pack of 3. And then what I usually do is I cut them. So just, you know, any kind of scissors, and you'll see these are like in wedges. Some people's are probably cut very precisely. Mine are cut Rachel style, which is just kind of however. So you just cut it down the middle, so you'll get a half. And if you wanted to keep it like that, you could. And then you can cut it again, so you can make quarters. And what I have done in the past, and some people do like to do to keep their fingers clean, is they'll use a punch. I don't have one handy now, but the tab punch, they would put that on there. And what you could do is you could put a piece of garden green on here and you'd staple it. That way it keeps your fingers clean. However, my fingers never stay clean no matter what I do. That's why I use dark nail polish, because under this it looks really, really bad. Hi Donna and Diana, nice to see you guys today. So some people will put that there. However, I found that I use this side too to sponge with. So if I want to do like an edge of a card, I'll grab this and sponge with this part. But if I want to fill the background and kind of make something light, also this is really good if you're using vellum. Oh my goodness, 6:30. Good morning, bright and early. If you just tap with the ink like this, it'll kind of fill in the background in a different way. And then I've also done it with this part. So that's kind of why I do have some that are stapled with paper. But again, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because if you do it with the paper, then you never have to worry about the fact of if you're using the wrong ink, because I also don't clean mine out very well. So anyway, this is you can get 4 out of 1. So you figure if you get a 3-pack, you can get 12. So that's pretty cool. And I just have backups because I haven't ordered them in a while, and some of mine are starting to get a little scrappy looking. And then the other thing, and this is one that's missing, if you get the sponge daubers, this is another way that you can add some color to your edges, but this will give a much more intense color. They fit on your finger, and then all you do is you just dip it in your ink and you kind of rub the edge of it. These rinse out, same thing as the sponges, they rinse out fairly well, so if you don't have a lot of them, you could certainly use them for different colors. So these come 5 in a pack. These are also available in my online store. And then the other thing, and the reason I'm saying this is because I haven't decided. Next week, I think I'm going to do a card that I haven't done for a really, really long time. So I'm going to let you guys know ahead of time in case you want to get some of these supplies ahead. But these are the sponge brayers. So you'll get 2 of these, and then they will come with 2 on them, and then you'll get 2 extra. So you get 4 sponges. So you could, same thing with these rinse out really well. They do tend to hold a color stain, but it doesn't affect anything whatsoever. And, oh, well, thanks, Diana. I'm glad you found me. That's awesome. Good morning, Linda. And these are really nice because they don't give quite as hard, if that makes sense, or deep of a coverage when you brayer. They give a very light look. I will say, though, I still really, 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 really miss the old brayer. That was my absolute favorite, and I do still use it. But next week, what we're going to do is we're going to do a technique using wax paper and glossy cardstock. And the reason I'm telling you this now is because if I say it, that means I have to do it, because I've been meaning to do this since the glossy cardstock came back, but I just keep forgetting and putting it off. But anyway, so next week I'm going to have to get out my iron and my wax paper, and it's a really, really fun technique. It's basically like a resist technique, like emboss resist, but instead we're going to use wax paper. So that'll be super fun. But anyway, you can use the brayers to color over that, or if you still have the other brayer, you can use that as well. So this will be a new foray for me to use these sponge brayers, because I haven't done that technique yet. So that'll be a lot of fun. And Christina, I think that's one we talked about like back in April at On Stage. So you guys will finally get to hear what it is I'm talking about. But let me move all this out of the way, and I want to show you a couple more things I have going on. So I just recently got, these are, this is the paper pumpkin from last month. But the reason I bring it out is the refills are available in the online store. Okay, so this is September. I actually ordered another refill because I'm going to make these and give these out for my son's class. And I think I needed more than what was in here. But basically, when you get your refill, it comes looking exactly the same. The old pink hair. Yes, it does, Relinda. You're absolutely right. But these come the same. The only thing that's different is you don't get your stamp set. So you have your stamp set still. It does come with your spot when you get your original in the box. Okay, but I got this refill, that way I could make these. And these would be great too, even if you wanted to leave the leaves off. You could do these, you could do them Thanksgiving, you could do it fall, but you could also even do these for Halloween. So if you can get this order in and you get your stuff fairly quickly, it takes me probably about a week to get my supplies. But you could make these for Halloween treats. You could just change the leaves. You could do them orange or do them completely differently. But that is one other thing. And they do have still the kits that are going on. I had the October kits come the other day. The November kits you still can sign up for. You have to sign up for by November 10th to get it, because if not, then you have to wait for the refills to come out. But the October refills should be in the online store fairly shortly. And that will lead me to, all right, so here's the paper pumpkin. I haven't opened this yet. I just sliced the box open. Good morning from Paris, Arkansas. I have relatives in Arkansas, Debbie. And hi, Sharon. Nice to see you. All right, so this is the paper pumpkin. And I'm sure many of you have already seen this, but this is the kit. That is the October kit, and it's a shaker kit. It's really cute. Comes with lined envelopes, really fun stamp set. And it comes with these really cool circles to make your shaker cards much easier, which I'm really hoping Stampin' Up! Will bring these out, because these look like so much fun and they make things so much easier. And what I'm going to do is, that is going to be my giveaway. So I have an extra paper pumpkin from October right here. So I'm going to give this away. All you need to do to enter is leave a comment. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to leave this open a little bit longer. I'm going to do anyone who leaves a comment on this video. So this is on Facebook Live. Anyone who leaves a comment on this video, I will enter you to win a October paper pumpkin. Okay, so you just have to wait for me to send it to you. And what I'm going to ask you to do is just say, what was this one called? Pining. How about pining for pumpkin? So if you can just put that comment in there, pining for pumpkin, anytime watching this video, and I will let this run through Friday at 5 o'clock. So you have until, today's the 20th at 5 o'clock, and then I will draw a winner for this and send this out to you. So this is the whole kit. You do need to have your own block. I don't have a block in it, but anyway, pining for pumpkins, and I will pick a winner and send this to you guys. So feel free to share this with your friends. If you share it, I will see if I can figure out a way to get you another entry. There has to be a way to do it. So we'll give that away at the end of the week. Okay, and I also finally got vellum back in, because I used, like you saw my last tidbit when I made that other card a couple weeks ago. So I got a new stack of vellum in, which I'm really excited to try with the Memento pad. I got this as well. I used to have the Stays On, and then we kind of discontinued that. And I did do a little bit of coloring with the Archival ink pad. However, I'm hoping the Memento is going to give a little bit more crisp feel to the Stampin' Blends. And by the way, Stampin' Up! Is giving away a free set of Stampin' Blends. And let me see if I can pull mine down without making a gigantic mess here. So all you have to do is, you're going to go to the Stampin' Up! Website. This is something I was fooling with here. You go to the Stampin' Up! Website, and they have a special, oh my gosh, what would it be? A post for Stampin' Blends. And I believe you have to like it or leave a comment or something. And you could be entered to win a whole set of these for free. So there is a link on my Rachthestamper Facebook page that will take you to the Stampin' Up! Page. So you have to comment on their post, not on mine, to be entered. But they're going to give somebody a whole set, and then I think they're going to give out like a couple of the family colors. So make sure you go on there and enter, because that is an awesome deal if you could get this for free. And these are going to be available for purchase to customers on November 1st. Okay, so these are all the colors that they have right now. If you can see those all. I actually got this little holder. Linda Cullen found something like this on Amazon. And it's really nice because they are nesting. So they will come apart. So you can put them in however you like. They nest. And it still has 3 more in the box. So if Stampin' Up! Decides to put out some other colors, whoopsie, if they put out some other colors, I still have plenty of room. But this, so you have 2 of each. So for example, these are Calypso Coral, so it's light and dark. And then you have a bronze and an ivory and then a lifter pen. So this basically is kind of like an eraser to make lighter marks in it. And I have been trying to do some research, shall I say, on this, because I have never used alcohol pens before. So it might take me a while before anything I create looks even remotely pretty. And I don't know. So I'm going to work on it and hopefully try to make something nice. But what I did was I stamped this, I can't even remember. I just got the stamp set the other day as well. Birthday Blooms is what it's called. I can basically, oh, sorry about that. And basically what this does is, this will show you the light and dark shade of each. So light and dark, light and dark, light and dark shade of each. And these are really easy to use, but they're not like Stampin' like the Stampin' Right markers. They are definitely more concentrated, but what you'll see is the dark and then the light, and then that lifter will erase the part in the middle. So to give like a white spot. So I really still need to practice with these a lot more because, as I said, I've never used these before, so I'm not really sure even remotely how they would look. But anyway, I thought it would be really fun to do something eventually on the vellum cardstock, which is why I got it, because I wanted to do this like a stained glass look. So the other thing that you can do is you could stamp this in Memento ink on one side, flip it over, and then color with these. That will also prevent the bleeding. So if you don't have the Memento yet, and maybe you only have the Archival, if you stamp on one side with the black for your image and then flip it over and color it on the other side, that might reduce your bleeding problem until you could get a more permanent ink. But again, I'm gonna have to continue to play with that just to figure it out, and we'll go from there and see. So anyway, does anyone have a preference? Because I am going to make this same style card. We could do another fall card. I can show you how I made this background. We could make this into a Christmas card. So I'm going to let you guys see what kind of card you want to make today. Again, I do have the vintage leaves, which is really pretty. I made a beautiful card for my mother-in-law's birthday using the Paisleys and Posies stamp set. And that was really fun to make. So you could make this into like a really bright, cheery card. Thank you, Coney. Hi, Kim. Hi, Antonio. Nice to see you guys. What kind of card do you want to make today? We want to do a fall card, or we want to do like are we like getting a little burnt out on fall? Christmas? You're saying Christmas. Bunny says Christmas. All right. I only have one Christmas vote so far, so if I don't get any fall, Kim says fall. I can understand. It's a difficult decision today. What I'm going to do, though, if we don't make a Christmas card, I will absolutely put a Christmas version of this on. So I got Christmas, Christmas. I got 3 Christmas, 4. All right, so it looks like we're going to go with Christmas. So I'm going to grab a stamp set. I'm going to try and see, what do we want to use? I'm trying to figure out if I got anything new lately that would be fun and easy. Let me pull them over. Alright, so recently I did also order some other stamp sets to use with the Stampin' Blends. I got Birthday Blooms. I thought that would be really fun. Now this one would be great to use. Season of Whimsy. That would be really fun with this. Because you can even use, you could use your alcohol markers, or you could even use your Stampin' Blends. So I'm going to be saying partial maybe to this, to the Seasons of Whimsy. This is the stamp set that does coordinate with the Stampin' Blends, by the way. Color Me Happy. And I love these lanterns and the birds. You have the wire and the flower, and this really, really fun. I also got Cheery Chirps. I thought this would be really fun. Merry Mistletoe. I'm going to put this on the side. Maybe we can add that into it as well. And last time we did Lovely as a Tree. I'm going to keep a couple of these around just in case we want to use them for sentiments. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a combination of these two. Merry Mistletoe and Seasons of Whimsy. Good Lord, tongue twister. Good morning, Kelly. Hi, Ava. Nice to see you. All right, so what we will do is we will do a background. How about we'll do Cherry Cobbler? That'll be fun because I love Cherry Cobbler. It's one of my favorite colors. Great thing about this card, it just uses a sheet, so you can make one card technically if you're going to use one whole sheet. But what you could do is just cut 2 bases, and then you could just use a smaller scrap piece for your inside. Okay, so we're going to use this. We're going to use Cherry Cobbler. And maybe we will pull out a little bit of Designer Series paper while we're at it, just to make it easier. So I believe I just got some more fresh Designer Series paper. This here is one of my favorites, and I think this will go really well with that one stamp set. But there is still the Designer Series papers going on. Hi, Angie. Thanks for joining me. Designer Series paper sales going on. Be Merry is one of the ones that's included. It's buy 3, get 1 free. It ends October 31st. All that is available in my online store. So anything I was talking about, you can get at rachthestamper.stampinup.net. Okay, so www.rachthestamper.stampinup.net. But we're going to use some of this, and we're going to do these 2 sets, and we'll figure something out. And I like that style of card because it is really, really easy to use more than one side of your Designer Series paper, which is pretty fun. And let's see what kind of leftover scraps I have here. I'm not sure if that one's going to be too small. All right. And here's another half a piece we can pull out. So this really coordinates nicely with this too. You could use real red. Honestly, it probably wouldn't make much bit of a difference. But what we're going to do is, let me move these two out of the way. I have like a whole, if you could see the way I craft, guys, I think you would probably laugh hysterically because things are in like such a disarray all the time when I'm stamping. It's just ridiculous. It's no wonder I don't have any room. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead by starting. This is a full sheet of cherry cobbler. We're going to trim it down to 4 1/4. Okay, so you can make your 2 cards out of this, or you could use your second piece for the inside, but we're going to do a little bit of scoring. So you're going to want to score it at 5 1/2 first, okay? And then, where's my thing? You're going to want to score it at 2 3/4. So either way is fine because you're going to make it'll go both directions. So 2 3/4. Okay, so you have that, and that basically makes your card, okay, your card base. So you're going to fold this one and fold this one over. Okay, so that's your card base right there. It's kind of like a Z-fold card, and then you add this other piece in. So for the other part, and you are going to need a piece of scrap. I have a lot of scrap from last year when I did a lot of window cards, so we can use this for our punch. And what we're going to do for this piece is we're going to do 7 1/2 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to 7 1/2. And by 3 3/4. And I will put all the measurements for all this on the blog as soon as I can get a post up. And then we're going to score this at 3 3/4. Okay? All right, so there's going to be your inside piece. Okay, so it's going to go just like this. Just like that. You can use any colors for this that you like, you know, just depends on what you want to do. And then again, we're going to hang on to the scrap because we can use that for a punch. And we're going to just trim down some designer series paper. So we're going to use a piece of designer series paper for the inside here. And then we're going to use 2 for this one. And then the one on the front we will actually decorate. So this is just a standard card. So how about we'll go with this fun little background to stick with the ornaments. Okay, so we're going to trim up a piece of this. This will be 4 by 5 1/4. So we'll go 5 1/4. And if I don't know if anyone notices, but when I stamped this last week, what I usually do is I will kind of measure down to where I want to cut. So I'm kind of only cutting out the piece. So what we're going to do is, are you still there? Freeze. Angie, you said it first. It could have froze because something interrupted it, but I ended it. That could be why. So sorry about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our piece at 5 1/4, and then we're going to cut down to 4. Okay? So that's the 4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over, and now we're going to put this piece to 4. So it measures right there at 4, and we're going to cut down to 5 1/4. And that piece should slide right out. Okay? So I don't remember how I figured that out. It probably took me a long time if we're being honest. But that piece will go there. And then we're going to need 2 pieces for right here. And this is kind of fun with the little Christmas trees. But let me see if we have anything else that looks a little less busy since it's going to be a... How about we'll use this? The little sparkle stars. That's really pretty. Alright, let's see if we have... This might be 2 pieces right here that I can fit to use. So these are going to measure 2 1/2 by 4 inches. So we definitely have 4 there. So we'll do 2 1/2. And Guernsey Channel Islands. Where? Wow, where is that? That's one I don't think I've ever gotten before. That's pretty cool. Know where to stop. Yeah, well, sometimes when the paper it is a little busy, so that is, yeah, that's understandable. All right, so again, this will be 2 1/2 by 4. All right, so both of these pieces are going to just layer right on top of here, just like that. And now we have our piece here. So what we'll do is we'll do all stamping on these. So I'm going to just trim up some Whisper White, that way we have something to stamp onto. So let's see, what did I do with my sheet? And these are going to be square pieces. So these will measure 3 1/2 inch square. So if you cut your 3 1/2 inch piece, and then you'll just cut another piece, 3 1/2. We'll fit one, One there, and then another 3.5. So honestly, this will be a pretty easy card to do for your Christmas cards if you wanted to do it, because you figure you could save a little bit of stamping if you use the designer series paper. You could cut all of your cardstock, which is what I usually do. If I'll make a lot of cards, like when I'll watch TV or something at night, I'll just cut a whole bunch of cardstock, and then I'll fold it, or I'll cut it and then I'll score it, or I'll cut it and then I'll trim out the DSP. So it can make it, you might be a DSP myself. Brianna, I think you've met your match, because that would be me over here. I love designer series paper. I'm embarrassed to show you how much that I have, actually. But it's a great way if you're gonna make a lot of cards. You can basically go through and kind of mass produce them by doing it in steps. And again, for anyone that's just joining, I am going to give away one of the October paper pumpkins. You just have to leave pining for pumpkins, and I will draw the winner. I'm going to leave it open through 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on October the 20th. So if you leave that comment in there as well, we will get you entered in that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put my designer series paper in, and then we will figure out what we want to do with this card. Oops. All right. And even this side's really pretty too. That's the nice part about designer series paper, though, especially if there's a side that you don't like. Usually the other side's a winner, but sometimes you'll find that you really don't know which side you want to use, which tends to be my problem more often than not. All right, so we have our base. Okay, so that's going to be our base. Let me just go through and, pardon my arm, sorry about that, get my bone folder and give this a nice crease. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead over, because my trimmer blade needs to be replaced. And I'm going to just push the edges down. So if you ever notice that you have edges that kind of pop up, I don't know if you can see that or not, but kind of pop up the opposite direction, and you're like, man, I cut that and I thought it cut it nicely. What you can do is you just take your oh, there goes the telephone. You take your bone folder and run it over the edges, and it will actually smooth that out. Okay, so that's all you have to do for that. And that'll stop ringing in a second. 3 3/4. All right. Okay, so now all we're going to do is we're going to figure out what we're going to do with our stamping. So let me bring all my stamps back in. And this is a brand new one. This is a host set. This is in the holiday catalog. So you have to have a qualifying order or be the hostess with a qualifying order to be able to get this stamp set. But it is super fun. If you don't have a catalog, if you send me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com, I'll be happy to send you one. Or if you need the regular catalog as well. And if you have any questions, that is probably one of the easiest ways to reach me is rachthestamper@gmail.com. I'm happy to get back to you. Or if I don't know the answer, to find the answer out for you and get back to you. All right, so this set is pretty neat too because it also has some Valentine's stuff in there. Valentine's, Happy New Year, Christmas. So we will pop out a few of these. And what you could do this a couple different ways. You could stamp these in black ink and color them in, or you could stamp them in a colored ink and kind of just leave them as that. We're going to do these in colors. So we'll do this in Cherry Cobbler, Garden Green, and what's another good Christmassy? You could see we could do it in gray and then kind of color that in blue, because blue sometimes is a little bit Christmassy. How about we'll try Pool Party? We'll see how it looks. If not, we can always flip the paper over and start over again. All right, so we'll get out a couple blocks. And this, I believe, does come in clear and wood mount. But I tend to buy almost all of my stamps in clear mount because I have so many of them now. It's just easier. Oh my gosh, guys. I am so sorry. I don't know what happened there. Still there? Is everybody still there? I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Somehow my internet got interrupted and it completely cut off. So I'm just going to wait 1 second and hop back in. Okay. So sorry. All right. So apparently, as a sidebar, somewhere very near where I live, there was a shooting today. So I think that's probably why everyone keeps calling. So cut off the phone. Sorry about that, guys. Sad. This world that we live in is crazy, and I guess you never know what's going on. And yeah. So we're back. All right. So we're gonna go back to Pool Party and Cherry Cobbler and Garden Green. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep one of these panels for the inside, okay? And we're going to do the outside. I'm going to see what this looks like first. We'll go with that one with just a couple in Pool Party because I'm not 100% sure how it's going to look, so I'm just going to do a few small ones, okay? All right, so we'll do these kind of light. And I don't know if anyone else feels this way, if they saw this this stamp set in the catalog, but this really reminds me of my grandparents because they had these really, really old, tiny ornaments that were so frail and delicate, and I used to love them, and they're probably half crunched in boxes, but I think I would still get them out if I could find where they were. But they remind me a lot of the, I guess they're probably from like the 50s, really. Because my grandparents probably didn't buy anything really new whatsoever when it came to stamps. I'm sorry, when it came to ornaments. So even though these are in, I'll say for me, kind of crazy colors, they still are very pretty. I like them. And I'm doing a couple of them, I'm just going to kind of stamp off so they're layered. I'm going to do the same thing again with the Cherry Cobbler. I'm going to stamp it and then just stamp off, just so it kind of looks more so like it's in the background. And I'm also stamping these in completely different directions, so it just looks like a lot of things on top of each other, okay? So basically what we're going to do is close this up. I think I'm gonna sponge a little bit of this in something, and you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sponge it in Pool Party, just to kind of bring that Pool Party back in and pop it up. Because I do think it kind of reminds me of like Jack Frost kind of cold kind of thing. If that makes sense. So I'm going to use the side of a Stampin' sponge. Just the wedge. And we'll see. And if we don't like it, I mean, we can always change it up. You can always omit the Pool Party. Alright, just like that. Now, this will be fun if we could do some sort of we might end up using that on the inside and then put another layer in. But this would be really fun. I'm trying to think to do, I don't know how silver would show up on there. Silver embossing powder. Deck the halls. That'd be kind of neat. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it on a little separate piece and then I'm going to pop it up. Just because it kind of needs something. Because this one has this really beautiful sentiment in it to kind of pop it out. So I'm going to do this. Deck the halls. I'm going to do it in silver. Because silver blue kind of go together nicely. And I'm going to cut this out and pop it up. So let me move this out of the way. Grab a little kind of scrappy piece here. And we're going to use our Versamark for that. And real quick before I forget, let me get my embossing buddy, because sometimes I do forget that. I'm going to put this down at the bottom because I'm not exactly sure how big I want it to be. So the embossing buddy, if you don't have it, that just kind of cuts down on the static. That way you don't get embossing powder stuck to a spot you might not necessarily want it. Alright, so deck the halls. And let me move this out of the way. And the Versamark does stay rather juicy, so it's going to stay inked up fairly well. If you aren't dumping quickly, which is what I usually don't do. Alright. Okay, so let me just dump this, and then I'm going to show you, there's a couple little spots that I think when I stamped in a little bit too deep, and we're just going to flick that off before we... So what you can do is if you have like a little teeny paintbrush, or you can just kind of take your fingernail and rub it Some people have little paint brushes that they use specifically for that. Okay, so we're going to heat emboss this. So, sorry, noisy for a sec. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I love embossing. I think I say that every week. Okay. I love embossing. It is so pretty, but be warned, don't touch it because it will smudge all over your fingers. So deck the hall. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim this out. And if you wanted to, if you have a punch that you really like, you could kind of pennant the ends with your punch if you wanted something to look a little bit fancy. But I think I'm going to just trim this out. We'll just stick with the square. I might trim a teeny bit closer. Or, you know what I may do is just trim, since this is kind of a whimsical pretty set, you know what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to trim this so it matches, so it's kind of flowy like the rest of the card. So this doesn't really take too much effort to do a little, not really a fuzzy cut, but kind of a fancy trim. That's what we'll call it. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to sponge the edge of this. And I think we'll stick with the pool party. And if you don't like the pool party, but you kind of still wanted that winter, you could also use soft sky because that is a much more delicate and a much lighter color. So here we have this. I'm going to just kind of go over it. So I'm going to just kind of pounce on top of it with my sponge instead. So it'll kind of fill in the color, but not make it quite as dark. Yeah, so let me show you what that looks like. So it kind of brings that blue out, but you could use soft sky instead if you didn't like this. So that is, you know, completely another option. And then what we'll do is we're going to pop that up on there, and then that'll be on the front. So let me grab a dimensional. Since this is such a skinny thing, I'm going to actually trim off the sides here. So if you trim off the edge pieces of your dimensionals, or if you have the mini dimensionals, that will work as well. All right, so we're going to put that on here. That'll go on the, this is going to go on the outside. So we have to figure out just a little something for the inside still. So we could use Christmas wishes. We could stamp the little reindeer here. We could do him an early espresso on the inside. How about we do that? So we're going to do him an early espresso over here, and then we'll do Christmas wishes on the top. There goes the phone again. I would say I'd go answer it, but it's not close enough for me to answer. So, hi caramba. Sound like Bart Simpson. Hey Christian, would you go grab the phone for me, please? The phone. Just have a feeling. Could you go grab the phone for me, buddy? The little phone on the holder back there. Can you go grab it? Gosh, guys, I'm really sorry about that. This is like the Facebook from you know where. And the worst part is I used to turn my phone off so I wouldn't get interrupted. However, if you do that, it won't let you broadcast. So I really truly am so sorry. I apologize. I need to get a special phone that doesn't have a number so no one can actually call it. Have to look into that. All right, so I have my little reindeer. I did him an early espresso. I have Christmas wishes in cherry cobbler, and I think just to finish it up a little bit, I just want to add a few trees. Oh, these days, you just never know what's going to happen these days. I know, it is life happening. It makes me so sad though. It makes me sad for the reason that is happening. That's what really kills me. All right, and we'll do a little bit of this in the top too as well. On airplane mode, Christina, you know the thing is though with airplane mode, I don't think it will let you broadcast because I think it like blocks your Wi-Fi signal as well, because that is what I used to do. Like if I record a video for say YouTube or Facebook and I put it on at a later date, it's great because you don't get interrupted. However, if you have it on when you're doing live, it won't let you broadcast. So I'm going to have to look into ways to combat that possibly. Okay, so I did a few of these little sprigs here. It kind of looks like a tree, but to me it looks more like a piece of like a holly bush or something like that. So I did these, but I stamped them off once first in garden green. Okay, so what I'm going to do though is I'm going to do a Christmas tree at the bottom, and I'm going to do this in full ink. So we'll do this down here. Okay, I'm going to just stick with, I'm going to do one more, but I'm going to stamp it off first. Same with this. Okay, so what I'm going to do though, I did notice one little spot here, and this might bother some people, so I want to teach you a way to fix it just in case. So my reindeer has like a couple spots where the white is showing through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to color this in with my Stampin' Right marker, just to kind of fill him in. And this might be a little bit darker because it looks like my re-inker isn't as inked as I'd like it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill him in, and I'm going to show you another thing to do. So I'm going to fill him in, and if you don't have that, you could also use a blender pen to dip your ink out of your early espresso pad. But the other thing you can do is you can take now your ink that you filled in, and then you kind of just spread it around so it will make it so it's not like quite as a dark brown spot. And you'll notice like, whoa, wow, that is super brown there, and everything else it really isn't. So you can kind of blend your ink already if that's something else that you have done. But basically that will blend your ink through a little bit there. And while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead one more time, and I'm going to sponge this in Pool Party just to keep the continuity of having the Pool Party on the edge of those two pieces. And then all we have to do is finish up adding our punches to hold it closed. We'll put these pieces in, and I'll show you an easy way to get that. That'll still give you a little bit of room. That way you can write your greeting in there if you want. This would be great if you wanted to do this. You could stamp it in cherry cobbler. Now you have to do this quicker though, because you can emboss any ink that we have. So any of these inks you could use clear embossing powder on, but you want to work quick because they do dry rather quickly. So we're going to put this on here. So we'll put this one on the front, and then this will go on the inside. So we just add a little fast fuse, and then we'll finish up the rest of this card. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there. I know this has been long and full of interruptions, and the people that watch this on the replay are going to be like, what the heck is this girl doing? The screen keeps cutting off. So thank you all for sticking. I think by now I probably would have been like, all right, I'm not watching this girl anymore. She needs to get her act together. So those of you that are still here hanging, I really appreciate it. All right, so what we're going to do is you're going to kind of figure out where you want your card closed, okay? Because you don't want to just put it down there because it might not be in the correct spot. So you're going to kind of eyeball where you want your card. So you want it to overlap, so it will hold it closed. Okay, let me move this up just a smidge. So you don't really kind of eyeball it, and then don't press until you're really satisfied with where it's going to be. Okay, so now you give it a press, and same thing on this side. So it will cut out some of your paper. So those of you guys that like to optimize your paper usage, not hoard, we don't call it that, we call it optimization. You could always cut out a piece in the middle, or if you wanted to use it for something else, so you could save this piece underneath a bit. But we're going to close it like that. And then all we have to do now is we're going to do our little piece to hold it closed. Now, the way this card is, and kind of again the same with this one, if you're really worried about this overlapping your piece, you could put this on at the same time you put this piece on. Or you could just use a little bit smaller of a punch. You could use, you know what you could use that would be really fun are some thinlits. So for example, obviously this is Christmas, not fall, but if you wanted to use one of your leaves, you could cut this leaf out, for example. Sorry, this stuff is on here with like NASA tape. So if you cut this leaf out, you could pop it up on a dimensional, and this could hold your card closed instead of using a punch. So that's another idea of something you could do if you say you didn't have a punch that fit necessarily. So say you didn't want to use your 2-inch punch, or you didn't want to use the I think this is called Sparkle. I'm like 99% sure it is. But you can leave this open like this because it is a perfectly fine card to use. Or again, we can pop out, show you one of these. So we're going to just punch one of these out. This is a piece of cherry cobbler. And then we have our 2-inch circle punch. And let's see what kind of other greetings we have in here that'll be fun to use. We have Christmas wishes. You could do your little mistletoe. but we'll do this. We'll put some of these little sparkles. Oh, and look, it even has the string. I didn't even notice that. It has the string for the ornament on here. How cute is that? We could do one of these. We're going to do one in black and we're going to color it in because that'll be more fun. All right, so let's see. How about we'll do, see what's going to fit. This will fit in the smaller, and then we're going to just put a couple of these little sparkle things all over the place with the pool party, because once again, that'll bring the pool party in. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to stamp this in, I'll stamp it in Memento. So it'll be my first time using the Memento. Okay, so I'm going to just stamp this kind of in the center just so I can get my circle punch. It doesn't necessarily need to be centered since we're punching it out. And we'll just give this a second to dry. And then we're going to stamp these little snowflakes in Pool Party. And I'm going to actually put both of these together on one block. And then we'll kind of rotate how we stamp them. Okay? So we will take, I guess we might as well stick with the same colors. We'll do Cherry Cobbler. And I'm going to squeeze this and create a little pool. And Garden Green, since all of our other stuff is in those two. And then we'll bring the Pool Party back in with the actual stamp. So I'm going to take a blender pen, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to color a little bit of the green in the tiny spots and then the Cherry Cobbler in the bigger ones. And this is fairly easy to do, the blender pen. This is really one of my favorites, more so even than doing the Stampin' Right markers. I really like the blender pens. And you can always add more ink if you'd like. We'll add a little bit of green down here. Plus you can feel like you have your own pet bird when it squeaks at you, or a hamster. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, and then you can use the same thing again. So just kind of clean your tip off on some scrap. And now we'll go in with the Cherry Cobbler. So we'll add a little bit down here. Cherry Cobbler can be a bit much though, so you might want to be very gentle with your touch when you're doing the Cherry Cobbler. And I'm also going to leave a little bit of white space because it kind of evens out the card a little bit. And we'll go a little bit up here. You could take your, do these in the dots in the centers. You could take your smoky slate marker and fill in the top. You can do that, add a little wink of Stella, and it'll kind of almost make it look like the silver part that holds them up. Or I don't really know what you could do for gold, maybe peach, and it'll kind of make it look like the silver. So I'm going to make this a little darker right up here. All right. And where is my wink of Stella? There she is. Put that up here so it'll look like the little silver shiny part. You could even put a little bit of this on your ornament. Give it that little sparkle. There we go. Okay, so before I punch this, I just want to do my little doodads and Pool Party. So I'm going to kind of just eyeball this, that way I don't over... Is the blender pen? No, the blender pen's not. You know what? I don't know what the blender pen is. I don't think it's alcohol. I'm not really quite sure what is in it, but I don't believe it's alcohol. So just so we kind of have an idea. So you figure if you wanted to, you could take like a little pencil and make yourself a circle around there, but I'm going to just kind of eyeball. I'm going to put that in the center, and we're going to just put these around in light spots. Oh, that looks so cute. Kind of almost looks like fireworks too, so this would be great if you don't have this set and you're thinking about keeping it for the 4th of July. Okay, so that's enough. We're going to leave that be. I'm going to leave that out because I might go over the edge of this. That's so fun. Oh my gosh, I love it. You know, I really wasn't going to even do this part because I thought it would be like a little bit of overkill. I'm just going to sponge the edges just slightly. So fun. So fun. Glycerin. That seems like it, but I wasn't sure if that would be the right thing or not. That makes a lot of sense that that's what's in it, glycerin. Okay, so we're going to just add this to our other punch with some fast fuse. How fun is that? This will be a great tag for a gift. If you want to make one bigger, just pop a little hole in it, add a little bit of this, the natural trim with the silver, or that really other, I can't remember what the heck that one's called. I think I used all of it. My silver trim ribbon, this one. This, but they make this in silver. Easy, super easy gift tag. Wow, what do you think? Like 2 for 1. This is like the longest video in the history of Facebook. However, I hope it made somebody happy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 dimensionals to this, but I'm going to add them to this side of it because we don't want it to be interfering with this card. We just kind of want it to hold up a space, okay? So we're going to take this off. And again, if you really, this might not look as good as it could because we could have waited to put this on. How I did this one, I put them both on at the same time. So it still will hold it closed, but it might be interfering with the deck the halls. You know what? I'm going to move the deck the halls over a little bit. Let me just scoot this over a smidge. Okay. And I'm going to pop this off and I'm going to add another little strip on here. Hopefully I'll do it without ruining it. Totally enjoyed. Thanks. Thanks, Linda. Even the frozen. Where did she go? Let it go. I'm trying to be like Elsa over here and let it go and keep going. So many people don't like to do Facebook Lives. And this is probably why. Because everything happens that you think is not going to happen. You have everything all set up. And the next thing you know, people call you. People interrupt you. Oh, I'm glad, Carol. I'm glad this is making you happy. Okay. So we're going to, so this is the kind of part that peeled off, so I'm going to just move it a little bit to the side. So it will still cover up my oopsie, but it will still be there. And it still is going to hold this shut. So now, and again, if you want this to be really tight when you mail it, you just want to go over your score lines a little bit. But it will stay closed. I promise you that. So look, that is virtually flat. And then it will hold it closed, or you can completely open it. So, 500 hours later, ladies and gentlemen, if there are any of you watching. Oh, thanks, Cindy. I appreciate that. Here is a beautiful card that is quite easy if you don't get interrupted a million times making it. Really, really simple. You can use any designer series paper for the back. These 2 stamp sets, I highly recommend. If you haven't had a party yet or haven't placed a large enough order, you really need to get this. I saw this and I love this stamp set, but it is so much cuter when you actually make it in person. Love it. So much fun. I love these. These will truly, I will never get rid of this set because it really does remind me of my grandparents' ornaments. And it looks so much more fun stamped in black and colored in. These are definitely cute, don't get me wrong, but once I colored it, whole nother level. And you could do all these. You could do these like randomly in the back. You could do these and then you could stamp like the little skinny one. You could color this one, and reminded me, I think they had one that was like silver and blue, so you could do pool party or soft sky with a little bit of smoky slate, add some wink of Stella. How much fun is that? So, thank you all for watching and being patient through the interruption and the freezing and everything else that possibly could have gone wrong. And to those of you who haven't made a Facebook Live, make one. It cannot possibly be any worse than this one was. So much fun. Thank you all for joining. I really, really appreciate it. And anyone who has joined late, make sure you leave the comment pining for pumpkins and you will be entered to win the October paper pumpkin. I do have an extra one and I will mail it out. I'm going to leave it open through 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on October the 20th, and I'll put everyone's name in. I would love if you guys would share this video. I'd really appreciate it. I'll put it up the top of your news feed. If you want to get alerted the next time you watch me make a train wreck of a Facebook Live video, all you have to do is hit notifications and it will tell you every single time I go live. You can get all these supplies and more in my online store 24/7, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. We do have the buy 3 get 1 free designer series paper special going on through October 31st. It is only on a limited number of designer series papers, but those are all available on my blog. There's a full list and I'd be happy to send you a list. I do have a newsletter. If you guys would like to subscribe, all you have to do is send me an email with your name and your mailing address, your email address, I should say. That'll give me permission to add you, and I'm going to send that out probably later today, first thing tomorrow. So that is rachthestamper@gmail.com. And if you need a catalog, holiday or otherwise, all you have to do is, again, send me your full mailing address, rachthestamper@gmail.com. I do need your zip code. A lot of times people forget their zip code. So if you could please leave that in, I'd really, really appreciate it. And the paper pumpkin, the other one that coordinates with the October pumpkin, will be going out. You need to subscribe by November 10th. You can get that in my online store as well under paper pumpkin. You can do that as a 1-month trial and see if you like it, but they also have 1, 3, 6, and 12-month subscriptions. And the more you get, I think they do give you a little bit of a bonus there if you get a bigger subscription. And if you are looking to become a member of Team Stamp It and be on my team, I would appreciate that. I would love it. We have such a fun group. We share so many ideas. You can find me. Again, you can go to rachthestamper.com. I'm sorry, rachthestamper.stampinup.net, and at the top right it says join now, and then it'll go through and I'll ask you some questions. You get $125 worth of product for $99, free shipping, which is a huge bonus, and they also send you business supplies if you decide you want to be a crazy person like me and make some videos. So thank you guys as always for watching. I will be back next Wednesday with another live, and maybe I can figure out how to turn the airplane mode on so we don't get interrupted. But next week, in case you want to mark this on your calendar, usually 9:30 is when I go live, Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to do a card because I'm saying it here, so I promised myself I'm going to do it with the glossy cardstock and wax paper. So it's like a emboss resist, but with wax paper card. It'll be so much fun. We'll figure out, I will maybe put a poll up and we'll see what kind of card we want to do. If we want to do fall, we want to do Christmas, or whatever it is we want to do. So yes, it will replay. It'll replay automatically on Facebook, and you probably just want to skip through a little bit of the quiet sections there, Linda. We've had a lot of interruptions today, but this will post onto my Facebook page. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, ma'am. I'm in Maryland, so I'm on the East Coast, so that's Eastern Standard Time. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for joining me. I appreciate all of the hearts and the likes and the loves and the shares and everything. Thank you for your support, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and go out, make something fun, and make somebody smile. Thanks, guys.